Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Age Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. Now that's Central Time, man. And you can find us on the radio at icradio.media, where we are a brand new Fox News affiliates. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. So you can find us all over. You couldn't get away from us if you tried, because we're also on all the social media sites. And all that.
I have one of those boxes that has all that stuff on it, but the only thing I play with is Netflix, because the only thing I watch is Designated Survivor.
Oh.
That's an old program that I just happened upon.
I gotta tell you, by the way, what you're hearing right now, you can come down here and get coffee.
Yes.
So much coffee. And they also have these little cakes, and it just depends on what's in season. So, and then they also have these really awesome fruit drinks. You got to come down
I
here.
think
and try
that's
it
what
out.
she's doing is fruit
That's it.
drinks.
She's making some.
Yeah,
fruit
because there's a
drinks.
bunch of kids behind us. See them over there?
And
They're,
so
they're all wanting
we're
fruit
at the
drinks.
Gadsden Hall.
Yeah.
And so we are actually sitting here at Books A Million, and they have some great prices. By the way,
I love Books A Million is my favorite bookstore.
see, I was a geek in school. I was a
I
client.
do not like Barnes and Noble.
So this one right here, you gotta go get this book. I've only read
Well,
one
you got
chapter.
the last copy.
Yeah, I got the last one, but they've got more on order.
Okay.
J.D. Vance, the new VP for Donald Trump.
So I thought I'd order it off of who, and I was wondering if it was in an ebook. That would really make my life
It is.
easier.
It's an ebook, and I think you can also get it on video if you go to.
If you go watch the
you gotta-
movie.
Well, you got to go to Books A Million website and get it that way.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'll do that.
Yeah, that's one of our new sponsors, and thank you guys so much for sponsoring us. Oh, they put up with me, but anyway, they just said even after watching videos, they decided to do it.
Oh well.
So, wow.
But it's a great. Books A Million is the better store. You know, it was started in Birmingham with a really small, just one little publishing part, and
What a
they
success story.
and then they went boom.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the old days, before I got rid of all of my stock, I actually had stock in Books A Million.
Should have kept it, girlfriend.
The stock market is
Yeah, it's kind of bad there. Who knows what to predict?
well, you can't predict it because they control it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like they manipulated the interest rates to keep them at zero until as long as Obama was there. Once Obama left and Trump came in, you started seeing it rise because they manipulated them at zero for the whole time he was in office.
Now I have a concern for young people who are getting married and they want to buy houses.
I
By the way, before I forget, I just assumed, see, Ann and I are really good friends. I assumed you knew her name already. This is Ann Eubank, just in case you're listening the first time. And she's with Alabama Legislative Watchdogs. And my go-to person for any advice, what's going on in the world, all those things. I really admire our friendship. I hardly ever tell you that.
You're my friend.
Let's not cry.
No, that's not.
Don't cry.
So in fact, I think it actually was this morning where the head of the Fed said that they were not going to wait for inflation to come down before they started lowering the interest rates because they know Trump is going to get elected. So they got to start acting right. They've been able to get away with it with Biden in office. But when Trump comes in, they won't be able to do what they can do.
over.
Yeah, game's over.
So let's talk about the assassination attempt. I'll have to tell you, we were watching it live, and I think because it was hot and sultry, you know how it is here in the South.
Yeah, I was inside, but
it's like that. And we're constantly fighting mosquitoes and stuff like that. So when I saw him turn around and when I saw him do that, I thought, he's fighting a mosquito off his ear. Little did I know, a few seconds later, he was shot.
Yeah, my friend Celia Waters in Fairhope, I was not watching it. I can't even remember what I was doing, what I was reading, but I was reading something because that's what I do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to try to keep up with all the garbage that our government's doing. And she sent me a text, Trump has been shot. And I put a big question mark, and she called me and she said, Ann, Trump has been shot. And I went, it did not register. It did not register. I was dumbfounded. So she hung up. I never answered her. She just hung up because she knew I was in shock. And I turned it on and I watched it. But the first thing I made a comment to my daughter who was sitting on the couch, he turned his head it was like that to look at something as the bullet went by. And I said to her, he turned his head just in time. God had his wings, his angel's wings around Donald Trump. And then I saw the picture, the still picture of where you can actually see the bullet in the air going by, and it fluffed his hair.
You know, that hair probably saved his life.
I mean, I was astonished. And then as I watched that video more and more, the two snipers were actually pointing their guns at the guy, and the whole time, even before he came on stage, because they showed it, those two guys saw that guy. And I read, and I do not know whether this is true or not, because we won't know until all of the facts comes out, that they had asked if they could shoot, and they didn't get the answer back in time. Now, whether that's true, I don't know. It was on Twitter, and you know how things on Twitter, anybody can put anything they want to on Twitter.
Oh, God, are you kidding? You trying to teach me a life lesson here?
So
I know you can't believe everything you see and everything you hear, but there are also some common sense videos that have come out there where people are actually saying, somebody get somebody.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know why thugs never think about this, or whoever orchestrated this whole thing. Everybody walks around with a camera phone nowadays.
Right. The point being is, how did somebody get on that roof? Why wasn't there snipers on that roof too? Because they had two snipers on the roof behind him, but nobody was on that roof. And it was just a massive failure of the Secret Service, not the ones on the stage with him, but the ones that were in charge of the perimeter.
Well, this woman's not stepping down, by the way.
Oh, no. And here's my thing. 6 of those Secret Service agents there were DEI hires, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and were not qualified to do what they were doing. So until the government gets rid of DEI, we're going to have a lot more problems of that kind of nature. When you hire people, look at that crazy assistant secretary of DHS who thinks he's a woman and dresses like a woman and wears his hair. He's a DEI hire.
That's something more flattering. You look like
I know. Oh my gosh. You know,
my grandmother's
and his hairstyle. You know, look, this is easy. It's a bob. Don't wear that long. Ugh. Anyway, that was not nice. The one who stole all of the luggage of other people in the airports. Crazy as a loon, DEI hire. So until we get rid of DEI in not only in the government, but in corporate America,
we're just going to have this.
We're just, these kinds of things will continue.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. And I asked this to someone who was in law enforcement, and I won't reveal the name. Okay. So I asked them, I said, do you think you're going to see a time where people are just going to take it on their own self? I have my cell phone. I see a thug out there about to shoot somebody. I'm afraid that the cops are probably, going to be libs or something. Possibility. Are you going to see some of that?
I think if that had happened in Alabama,
I know what you're saying. I already thought about that.
Every person in Alabama owns 4 guns. That guy would not have made it to the point where he could fire.
But then that person would be in prison.
No, not necessarily.
According to Alabama law?
According to Alabama law, if he's defending the life of the future president or a past president, when nobody else was there to do it, would you on a jury convict him and to send him to jail?
I wouldn't.
Don't
But
think
there
so.
are plenty of morons walking around. I'm sorry.
Well,
I thought of another word, but
yeah.
morons running around.
I don't think it would ever fly. I think if you saw an imminent threat to Donald Trump, that if he had been in Alabama, somebody would have taken action. That's my opinion.
Well, the guy was floundering around. Was he high on drugs?
I don't.
There?
Man, did you see the picture where his head, where they showed his head after he? Oh, that was just.
Well, we just missed seeing President Trump's head like that.
Yeah. And for that man, let me tell you something. That man showed that he is a true American. That he refused to go down, and he stood up and pumped his fist and said, "Fight."
True Trump fashion.
Because that's who he is. And anybody who wants to vote for that weakling that we have in the White House right now, as opposed to somebody who was capable of standing up after being shot in the ear and doing what he did, and worried about his shoes. God love it. The whole attitude was, I'm not walking out of here barefooted. I want my shoes.
Well, they were kicked off while people were
Yeah.
trying to
Oh,
scramble
well, you had
down.
like 8 people. It's a wonder they didn't hurt him worse than being shot
But
in
did
the
they
ear.
feel like they were trained though? Because
Oh yeah, that woman in front, she's been a Secret Service agent 8 years, I heard, and she was the team leader for that group. And if you know that, and if you listen to the video, I heard somebody say on TV, they should have gotten him up and off that stage. But if you listen to the video, the first time they were ready to pick him up and move him off, he said, wait, I want my shoes. And then the second time there was a wait, and then the Secret Service guy said, shoot her down. And that's when they got up. Because that thing in the front that was red, white, and blue and all, that is bulletproof. That's a bulletproof plexiglass, whatever it is. So they were behind that. But the sharpshooters had already taken out the shooter, which was a good thing, because had he been able to keep shooting, by the time they get up and to him, he could have shot several of them. But that was the reason they kept him down there. It's because, one, he wanted his shoes, and then they were waiting for somebody to tell them that the shooter's down. Because there could have been a second shooter. Why pull the president up?
Yes. Okay, so you and I are not like tall women or anything like that. We're not tall enough to guard the 6 foot whatever.
What is he, 6'2"? He's pretty high.
I was about to feel 6'2". Okay, so you and I are shorter than Phil. It would be like us trying to protect him when all you need to do is shoot somebody in the head.
Yeah, but he was already down. He was already on the ground. But if you remember, there was one that stuck his arm up in that space where his head was showing. So they've been trained, who's going to do what and how they're going to do that. They probably do that drill over and over and over again. The failure was on the perimeter, not what they did. So, and the poor man who died protecting his daughters, that's just terrible. My husband's a retired fireman, and I just can't imagine, because he was shot in the head, and you hear the screaming on the video.
Yeah.
That's her. That's one of his daughters screaming like that. So the other 2 are stable. They have collected $5 million in a GoFundMe for the 3 victims, and Trump's numbers went up,
Still,
Biden's went
people are
down.
still funding his campaign, and they say it's smaller donors. It's less than $100.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's less. A lot of them are $10 and $20.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Would you, let's say you owned a business, would you feel more confident about your business if you had one person who came in and spent $1,000 at your business one day, or if you had a whole bunch of people coming in spending $10?
Well,
Which would you feel more confident?
The fact that a lot of people are coming into your business would make it more viable.
Because it'd be repeat
Right.
possibly coming
Right.
back in.
And then they go out and tell people, and you know, you've got a store where a lot of people are interested in coming in. So yeah, I'd have to say that. So
I totally agree. Because you got your one person, could be somebody just out of town, came through a
Right.
fluke and decided
Right.
to buy a bunch of stuff. So yeah,
well,
that's
you know, your
reality.
store can't operate with one person coming in. You have to have lots of people.
So that's my take on the credibility of the people who were funding this campaign.
Right. Oh, I was watching the convention yesterday.
Hard to take my eyes off it.
I was waiting on the announcement, and I'll be doggone, I got the announcement because I was on Truth Social before they got the announcement, which was really funny. I saw my friend Clint Grantham from South Alabama Liberty. He's a delegate, and he was standing. I saw him on Fox, so I sent him a message. I see you on Fox and J.D. Vance, which J.D. Vance was my number one pick. But my hesitation was we don't need to take anybody out of the Senate. But obviously, what he's going to be able to bring to the table overrides his one vote in the Senate.
So what do you like about J.D.
Oh, he's one of us. In fact,
according to this book, you
according
need
to
get
this book, yeah, he started out. His mother was an addict. His dad left the family, ended up in prison. He was raised by his grandmother. If it wasn't for Meals on Wheels, they wouldn't have food. When he graduated from high school, he went into the Marines for 4 years, came out, used his scholarships to go to the Ohio State University. They made a big deal.
Oh, you know, he worked at a place selling tiles.
Oh yeah,
like floor tiles and stuff like that. He just
and
worked.
yeah, well, he had to survive. And then he went on to Yale Law School, and I know how hard it is to graduate summa. He graduated summa, number one in his class, head of the Yale newspaper, whatever, that law review, and is now a lawyer, a venture capitalist. And he wrote that book telling people that just because you're poor and you come from a really bad background, Appalachia, he worked in a coal mine, that you too can become Vice President of the United States of America. He is the American story.
And that's what we need to hear now.
Absolutely.
But you know something, Trump, I know he's wealthy. He has more money than I would ever think of having. But
I'm not sure he even knows how much money he
But
has.
there's something about his personality that, I guess because he thinks like we do, like we will say something about someone in office, you know, we'll just be saying that. He says the same stuff, and we haven't been used to anything like that. It's almost like they're
Yeah,
those
they have
who rule over us.
they have a name for that. We are called, and I was reading this Hillsdale article this morning. I didn't have time to finish it. We are called nationalist conservatives, and Trump is a nationalist. He is an American. He doesn't believe in the whole global corporate thing. He believes in the people of America, in personal freedom, and it's really. And then they have the other ones, what we call rhinos. They're called free cons.
Free kind.
Free cons. They won't.
Con is good to
Yeah,
add to the end of it. Yeah.
The George Bushes, the whole free trade, globalist, corporatism, the Chamber of Commerce people. So we actually have two types of conservatives, and I call them rhinos, Republican in name only, but in actuality we're both Republicans. We just have a different view of what is conservative. Then you have the libertarians and the Constitutional Party. So, everybody talks about we're all Christian conservatives. Well, that's not true because there's four different types of conservatives. Me, I'm a nationalist conservative. I believe in American workers. And got kind of aggravated last night at the union guy because I think he went a little bit too far. If he had stopped about halfway through his speech when he said that Donald Trump was one tough SOB and walked off the stage, that would have been good. But he went on and on and on about right to work versus unions. That's not a conversation you need to have at the Republican National Convention.
Okay, so what do you think of Trump when he walks through? You see this bandage on his face. I think he wore it like a badge of honor.
Well, the doctor probably told him you can't take that off for 3
He
days.
said, I don't want to take it off.
Yeah. I
Feel like I want to take it off.
think he was very introspective. I think he realized that he came a millimeter from death. And I don't care who you are, how tough you are, that has to weigh on your mind.
That's going to
and your
grind you a little
heart.
bit.
And you could tell in his eyes that he's like, I have a second chance. Now what the heck am I going to do with it?
I saw a piece in it that I've not seen. A lot of us, you've been in the corporate world, I've been in the corporate world, you know how we work, we're constantly chasing the dollar and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And now that I'm not doing that, I have my own business and I run it away. I don't have to wait on some power person to say I can sharpen a pencil or whatever.
Right.
I just feel a peace about myself. It seems as if there was this whole new lease of life coming out of his eyes.
I'm not sure you call it peace. I think you call it.
I'm talking peace in his calling, what he's on earth for.
I would probably think he knows that God has a destiny for him, but he's got to figure out how to get to that destiny, and that God protected him because he said it. It was divine intervention that I'm not dead. So, having been in a place where you had to figure out where you're going, because what I do is way above my pay grade, and yet it's like God sends me all these messages. You do this, and
God
all this.
has knocked me in the head.
Yeah.
I'm one of those.
And he has knocked me in the head. So I recognize that look on his face last night, like, okay, I know I'm supposed to do this, but you got to give it to me because
What's the next step?
what's the next step? But yeah, I'm sure he's thinking about, I almost died. I could have died, and God protected me. And so now I got to do what God wants me to do. So what is that? I think that's what you saw on his face last night. What is that? The country is behind me. Oh my gosh, they
If
brought
he
me.
doesn't know that,
Yeah. So let me do the right
that's why people
thing.
are shaking their boots and they're worried
Right.
because they see that trend.
Yep. So he's like, let me do the right thing. I don't want to do the wrong thing because God's given me this chance, but what am I supposed to do?
But what God wants to happen happens. It's just the way it goes.
Yep.
What's
So-
in the plan?
But that's what I saw. I think the next couple of days you'll see him. And again, he may have been taking pain pills for all we know. You know, that's got to hurt to have
But still, it didn't
a
act
bullet
like,
go through your ear.
but still, it didn't act like bud
No.
acts on a daily
Oh,
basis.
Lord, no.
So I wanted to ask you, the most confusing thing about the whole debate was at the, I mean, not debate, but at the convention was the end of it, where they had this minister gets up there and they praise, but who was the woman? What was she?
Well,
What was that?
you know, I was there in 16, my one and only time. Never going to do that again.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to go with me.
Nope.
You know,
It will never happen
not coming.
again. Never. That is, and I have to, you know, I work for Ted Cruz. I was on his Southeastern team. Had dinner with him the night before he's supposed to speak. And the night that he was speaking, and Trump's people made our lives miserable. So there's one thing
I
you
remember
don't
her
want to
calling me.
be.
Here's what she did. She called me and said, "Here you go." Well, I just wasn't telling you anything. I knew you were on the team with Cruz and all that. I thought I don't want to argue with her. I'm voting Trump, but I'm not going to tell her. I was almost like, you know, you tell your mother you're going to get married or something.
Right.
And so she just said, "I don't like. I mean, you didn't like me as treated."
No.
And then you said you're voting for Cruz, aren't you? Well, I can't lie to her. I mean, you just can't lie. So I said, no, voting Trump.
So if you're on the opposite side of Trump in whatever,
You'll know it.
you better prepare for the wrath. And they don't care who you are. If you are on the opposite side, and I wonder if that's going to change now, he will come after you. And so they made all the Cruz delegates, the Cruz, we were called the Cruz crew. It was terrible how they treated us. So,
I
you
think he
know,
was just testing Cruz out to see how tough he was. That's what I think he was doing.
well, maybe so. So after that, I swore I would never. And people you'd known all for 10 years treated you like you were a pariah.
You didn't speak to me for about a month.
I mean, I was just like, what is the deal here? We have the right to a different opinion. Who knew what Trump was? Nobody knew what he was going to do. We knew what Cruz was going to do. He's a process person. He's a constitutionalist. We had no clue about Donald Trump.
That was the magic of it, though.
I'm going to tell you, it didn't take long after he was elected because every issue he took on was my issue. And he did stuff that there's no way on earth Cruz would have done or could have done. So it didn't take long. I mean, and trust me, I voted for Trump because there's no way on earth I was going to vote for Hillary. So I've changed my mind. I was wrong. He's the best thing that America has seen in decades.
And I wanted to say this to you. I wanted to say, and I can do it now, okay, because, you know, that ship has sailed. So what I wanted to say is, I don't know why you don't like him. You remind me of him because when you get something on your mind and you want to do it, I'm just telling you, hell couldn't stop you.
Well, that's true, but
You're like that. And that's why we're such good friends because you lay it out on the table. You say it exactly like it is. And that's why you and I are friends. And I had to change your mind of thinking.
but I am also a process person, and I am because I know you people out there can't see, but I have two
You're on the library with her.
4-inch binders sitting at my feet with research that I've done on workforce innovation. And I happen to be a member of the 2025 group, so I have my book. And that's what I do. So
I still
I
say
didn't
Trump
s-
needs to
I
put
didn't
you in his
see that.
cabinet
I know.
somewhere.
I didn't see Trump doing that. And you know, one of the promises that he made, which I cannot fault him, was to get rid of the Department of Education. Well, considering all the bad stuff he had to deal with, let's see, 2 impeachments, third, I can't even,
Jumping all these hurdles.
I just cannot imagine all the stuff he had to do. He didn't get that done, but he promises he's going to get that done this time.
I think it's going to be one of the first things
Yeah,
he does.
that was my big,
crucial.
yep.
It is very crucial. We've got to go into a commercial break.
Okay.
And we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. Central, as you and I get to ride home with each other. We're live right now at the Gadsden Hall.
Yes. And I'm going to go across over there to the shoe store because I need some white sandals. I have brown, I have black, but I don't have any white, so I got to go find them.
I find you some over there.
Right,
And they're running some sales. I wanted to mention that. Okay, they're not one of our sponsors yet, but we're talking. So
Okay,
they're
good.
probably going to be. But they're running some good sales. And I also want you to check this book out. Now, I've got the last one, but they have a shipment of these things coming back in because everybody wants this book. Okay, J.D. Vance wrote this book, Hillbilly Elegy? Is that
Elegy.
Elegy?
Elegy.
Okay. I always have
Elegy.
to ask her how you pronounce stuff. But anyway, this is, you got to get, I've only read one chapter and I'm already hooked. So, one
He's
chapter.
a very interesting guy.
Mhm. Yeah,
And let me tell you, he is one of us. He,
strange family members.
yep,
Had to
strange.
get over that.
Yep.
Had jumped that hurdle.
Well, you know, yeah, I got a bunch of texts last night about blah, 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 and I'm thinking, not going to matter because he's shown who he is and what he stands for and how he votes. So, I mean, he's been there 2 years.
I think he'll be loyal.
Yeah.
Did you
Oh,
feel
he
the
loves
loyalty?
Trump. Oh, yeah.
He didn't at first.
Same
of
as
course.
you. Well,
You didn't
neither
either.
did I. You know,
And that's his card though.
If Trump calls me, I will go.
Mhm.
I don't
Well,
think
you
he will.
should.
I don't think he will.
How
But
do
I
you
will.
know?
I'm getting
That wouldn't
kind
be a strange
I'm
thing.
getting kinda
I'm sure
old.
your name has been thrown in a hat somewhere down the line.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't
I'm
doubt
not-
it. He has to have remembered you because you probably looked at him with the same disgust he looked at you.
I kind of did. Yeah.
Sure remember that. And he is a forgiving kind of a guy.
Well, you know, I was real close to Heidi Cruz, and I was actually the night they showed where he told the world that Cruz's father was part of Castro's group, and I'm like, what? Cruz's father fled from Castro. I don't know what they're talking about. And then they said something about Heidi not being very attractive. Well, I happened to be sitting real close to Heidi. You know, when that was just terrible. That was just
I
terrible.
thought she was. I don't know why you meant by that, but
You didn't think she was attractive?
no, I thought she was.
Well, he said she wasn't. But then who thinks anybody's attractive if you're married to Melania? My
That's
goodness.
why I thought. That's why I thought he said what he said.
Gracious. He was just nasty that day. Just and we were at an event, and it was in Cleveland, and we were over at some Mexican restaurant that had an outdoor pavilion, and Trump's plane, and you can't miss Trump's plane because it has Trump in great big
Now it has
letters
something bad on it.
across the side of it, made 3 circles rooftop around that event.
They were just making sure you were safe.
Yeah,
They
right.
were checking security. That's what they were
Yeah.
doing. And trust me.
And I'm thinking, what a jerk. But people,
Probably saved your life. You never
yeah,
know.
I never
They
know.
may have seen a sniper
They
up there
could
looking
have.
right at you.
They could have.
Probably had a gun. I ain't going to your head.
So, but that's Trump. And if it's not aimed at me, go for it.
So I want to ask you a question. Okay, there's something going on in small town America right
Yes.
now. It's happening in my own neighborhood. There are people are buying land, and I'm just seeing a lot of pod houses, little small trailers, and so this is okay. Very suspicious. Not a year ago. Okay,
Okay.
so tell me if I'm wrong, because I know there are sanctuary cities, but I'm pretty sure they're outgrowing that. Is there some kind of a push somewhere to go into small town America now?
Well, you know, I'm out giving speeches on that. I've already given 5 across the state of Alabama. I have another one coming up July the 23rd in Morgan County, Alabama. And it is working for Alabama that the governor, the lieutenant governor, the speaker, Ledbetter, the minority leaders, and Business Council of Alabama are pushing this, but so that everybody can have a job, and it's called Innovate Alabama. Working for Alabama, Innovate Alabama. Unfortunately, what they don't tell you is that it's a federal program signed in 2014 by Obama that is called, and I call it WIOA, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, and it comes straight from Agenda 2030. Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050. So what this program does, and the federal government's paying for all of it, is in our Republicans, which by the way are free cons, the neocons, the rhinos, have divided our state into 7 districts, innovative districts, where corporations will be the centerpiece of each district, and the government is making it a private public corporation with the full power of the government. Our legislature passed a bill that gives employers tax credits to build on-site multifamily low-income housing for their employees. And they require a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week child care system to be put in place. Now, I thought we got rid of the company store way back in the early 1900s. But it's coming to a city near you. In fact, Coleman already has it. I got a text after giving a speech up there that Catholic Charities brought in 100 Haitians for the chicken plants and the manufacturing house. The manufacturer trailers in Coleman, where they had built these little 4-space pods, houses.
How big are these?
I haven't seen one, and she didn't send me a picture, so I've been trying to get up there, but I was out of town at the beach for a week, just doing stuff.
Fluff stuff.
Yeah.
She has to do fluff stuff every once in a while.
Every once in a while. It's the only way I can keep sane.
Sure.
And when I get up there, I'm going to take pictures and I'm going to put them online, where Catholic Charities that brought in these Haitians illegally. They're illegal. They've been allowed to come here and take American jobs. We're giving them American housing and American child care. And our state government says it's a great and wonderful thing. Not only that, they're doing it close to where she lives.
So my antennas come up all the time anyway. I think what they're trying to do, they're trying to go into areas where they think people are ignorant and won't notice anything popping up and happening. So what I'm seeing in my town right now, I'm very suspicious. So all around our land, all around it, by the way, somebody tried a little meth lab 3 different times on our land. And finally got the sheriff's department out there to help, but the local police did not help.
But something, the locals are just failing. I wonder if they're hiring DEI.
I'm very pro
police.
Yes. Was a police officer, for goodness sakes, at Oxford, Alabama for years. But now this wouldn't have been tolerated back in his day.
No.
But anyway, another story about that. We'll do that another show. But all around my land, around the area, you can look at a horseshoe. There are mobile homes that are being set up. People are buying land. But what I noticed about one, it's right on Highway 75. So you got Highway 75, and then right here is someone's land, and my land is adjoining that. So there's someone else's patch of land separating us from Highway 75. But on this patch of land, I'm seeing where they've cleared it all, and you're thinking, oh, they're going to put a nice house up. You always want the best.
Right.
But what I'm seeing are these little mounds. It's almost like little mounds of dirt, and they look like they're probably about 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 feet. I didn't measure it, but I'm going to go out there and measure it.
Yeah.
If I don't get arrested for doing it. You gonna bail me out?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
You just give me a call.
So,
You have my number.
but I'm noticing there's a stretch of area between these mounds, and I'm trying to figure out what that could be. I don't think they're planting fruit trees out there.
Um,
But
well,
you can see the mobile homes out there where they bought the previous land.
right. So how close are you to the new economic development area that's down I-59?
How far am I? 15 minutes.
Okay. That's probably going to be your answer. Um,
Now, I sent you a picture because I was
Right.
confused about this whole thing, and I saw a manufacturing company. I don't know if I could get to it right away or not. I don't remember how I sent it to you. It's been a little while, but it's like a contracting firm,
okay.
and and then right up from that, about a mile and a half from there, you're heading south, like you're going towards Albertville.
Yeah.
And on the right-hand side, I say somebody bought some land. We wondered what they were doing there, thinking maybe somebody was building a house. And I'll probably get shut down on Facebook for this,
Yeah.
but whatever, it won't be anything new. So it was cleared off, and so now there are about 20 camper trailers out there.
So the next step would bring in whatever you need to find out if it's Catholic Charities, if what are they going, who are they going to bring in? Because this is a 50 state. It's not just Alabama. The WIOA, and if you want to go read it, you can type in WIOA-alabama.org, and you have a Texas, a Tennessee, a Georgia. Georgia's a year ahead of us. So our legislature, again, is full on into WIOA. Now, if you read the first 10 things that they have to do, it is designed for the underserved. So what that means is people who have trouble getting a job. The Alabama State Legislature passed a new high school diploma called a pathway diploma. They took out 2 years of math and 2 years of science, and they are going to assign these kids to a certain type of factory. Could be construction, could be anything. And those kids will get their pathway diploma because it's a pathway to a job. So there's 3 different types of diplomas. You either go to college, then you have the dual where you go to learn a skill like welding, kind of like vocational ed, and then you have the pathway where you're basically assigned a job. You're going to learn how to do this job. Since when does our government designate what you're going to do with your life, what kind of job? And because
That sounds like a concentration camp kind of a thing.
well, it's definitely Socialism 101.
So Nathaniel Ledbetter is in DeKalb County, where I live.
Yes, he is. And we have a list of legislators that we would like to remove from office because of this kind of thing that they're passing that will take away your private property rights. If, say, like Donna decides she doesn't want her house anymore, BlackRock or the government will come in, buy your house, tear it down, and build multifamily residence.
And that's what I'm trying to tell you, that they're doing all
Yes.
around me right now.
Yes, multifamily, low-income housing, because it's not fair that Donna had that nice house on that big property when there's so many people in the world who don't have that. And that's what we're facing. So in order to change this, we have to get rid of our legislators who are pushing this, because they would take away private property rights. They have given corporations the right to eminent domain. They have given these corporations the right to not pay taxes. These corporations, it is like a government corporation run by private people. I'm sorry, that's not free enterprise. Since when is our government in Alabama, supposedly the most conservative state in the whole union, turning over and giving government power to corporations? Very bad thing. Very, very, very bad thing. Go look up public-private corporations. They are not good things. They are not for the people. We should have the right to decide what job we want, what we want to do with our property, and
How can we fight this in our own communities? Is there
you're
anything
going to
we can
have to
do?
go to the council meetings, the county commission meetings, and demand to know what's going on and to find out who is doing this. Is it Catholic Charities bringing in people? Because that's how they found out that Catholic Charities brought in 100 Haitians in Coleman, is they went to the city council and the county commission, and they had to do their research to figure out who was doing it and demanded that it be stopped. They do not, it's the same thing as bringing in a dump into your neighborhood. You don't want to dump in your neighborhood, so people go and complain, we don't want that in our neighborhood. That's the same thing. It's just a little bit more serious than a dump.
Well, it also affects your property values.
Your property values,
But it
your
is like
schools.
fake.
They're bringing in kids that can't speak English.
Okay, in my town, okay, we have a population of 900 and something people in this town. However, there are 1,200 students. And each of the students has got to have at least one parent, right? They've got to have at least one sibling. Wouldn't you say that actually in the town I live in would be 3,000?
Have you asked that question at your city council or your county commission?
I've actually asked it to the mayor. They can't explain it.
Well, then go above the mayor. Go to the school board and say, if we only have 900 people in our town, how come our school has 1,200? Where are these other
And
people
you can
come
look
from?
this up, by the way. You can look this up on the city data. I mean, this was taken during the 2020 census.
Right.
Okay, and there's more than that now. I mean, there are
Okay.
more.
All right. The census was not supposed to count illegals, but every illegal child has the right to an education, and that may be your answer.
Which means what in the long run?
In the long run, they're going to be you're going to get to pay for educating illegal children, and that's going to be your answer. Is that you have illegals in your area who have children that are being accepted into the public school system because the federal government, the state government says so.
Okay, now I want you to talk to folks because, right, we've been actually trained the past few decades. Just mind your own business. Don't look at what the neighbor's doing.
Don't rock your boat. Don't be uncooperative.
How can we be more aware as to what's going on in our own town?
You have to go to the city council meetings, the county commissions. You have to ask the mayor the questions, or the city council people, or the county commissioners, what the heck is going on with this? Then if you can't find it, like you said, the data's out there, just go online and start looking. Ask your neighbors. Do you know anything about why we have 1,200 students when only 900 people are in our town?
I know we've had Common Core. Is that Common Core math? I mean,
That's Common Core math. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
well,
that's
that
Common
was
Core
my first
math.
question.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah. So, I mean,
People think, oh, it's their own business, and my neighbors, whatever.
We have been so apathetic and mind my own business that we have lost our freedom. You don't have the freedom anymore. Just like those mothers and fathers that went to the school board meetings and were arrested for speaking out. People, you must remember, they work for us. The second thing you must remember is you gotta vote the bums out. Quit saying, well, our mayor's been there, he's a great guy. Obviously, if he has allowed this, he's not a great guy. Vote him out. Vote, if you vote in DeKalb County, vote Ledbetter out, because he's one of the driving forces, along with Business Council of Alabama and the Chambers of Commerce. We have to vote them out.
And this is another thing. And I've talked to a lot of politicians. Okay, so when an issue comes up, such as the gambling thing, and all this stuff comes up, you'll ask a person, what are your thoughts about gambling? They just say, when they start the answer out, well, let's just let the people decide.
Oh, yeah.
To me, that's famous last words. That's famous, and I'm for it.
Yeah.
We're going to blame it on the people voting it in instead of me bringing it in, right?
Right. So let the people decide would be a great thing to say if we were on a level playing field.
But we're not.
But we, the people, are not on a level playing field. Do you have $10 million to advertise on TV, radio, print, everything, signs, everything you could possibly think of to vote for it because it'd be a great thing for Alabama? No, all we have is vote no on gambling. We don't have the money that the Porch Creek Indians have. We don't have the money that the 5 legislators who are going to buy Victory Land, we don't have that. And in the bill, it gives them the permission to profit from gambling.
You can practically say, if you can see dollar signs in their eyes, run from that person as quick as you can and do opposite of what they say.
I was told that the reason the gambling bill failed was because there were 5 legislators bidding on Victory Land, which is right outside of Montgomery, and they didn't like something in the contract or the bill, so it fell through. But trust me when I tell you, it will be back. It will be back.
Well, we've seen little hints of it anyway throughout the past 3 decades.
Yeah, and this workforce development that you keep hearing about is the 3rd leg to Common Core. If you remember, I know some of you are out there going, oh my God, but we still have Common Core. Common Core was the first to dumb our children down. Then the data, we need to know everything about every single person in these United States in order to be able to control them. And then workforce development so that we can tell you what job you can and can't do.
And you were definitely right about all of that.
Yes.
And we're going to have to call it a day. Thank you so much for being on the show.
You're so welcome. I'll be back.
I'll be back. It makes me think of that movie. And she will too. I'm going to tell you what, if you want to come to the Gaston Mall, come to the Books A Million, and I'm just telling you, I've only read 1 chapter, and I can't wait to get it back where I can really dig into this book. It's
I'm
going to
going
be
to go home and order an ebook. That's the easiest way for
You
me.
can do that through the Books A Million website, so you can do that as well. Thank you again so much for watching, and thank you so much. But thank you so much for being here with me. I know you're busy and you got lots of things to do, and thank you. I know you're busy and you have lots of things to do. If you watch this show, we would definitely appreciate it. You have a great rest of the day.